What's up, guys? How we doing? Shabam. Weapons. I got the Steelbook for it, which I honestly can't believe I got. I streamed a few weeks ago, and we got the little kid there. That's the artwork, basically. If you are interested in the digital code, I have no need for it. And last time I did this, there actually was some interest. So my email is in the description of my channel, my actual email, which I didn't even realize. If you're interested in the digital code, send me an email so I have a place to send the digital code. Comment down below that you did. First one to do it, we'll get the digital code. Yeah, Weapons was a steelbook I did not think I was going to get my hands on. I was streaming and looking into it while it was in theaters, and the steelbook sold out before it even left theaters. That's the hard part about steelbooks, is figuring out when they come out. And it was sold out, and I just kept checking every day, and one day it just happened to become available and sold out within the same day. And I kid you not, I got the last copy in my town, at least. I ordered it, then went back and it said out of stock. So really happy I got my hands on this one. This is a really sought after one. But anyway, yeah, Weapons. Finally got to see it. One of my most anticipated movies of the year, directed by Zach Cregger. Absolutely love Barbarian. He brought a very fresh, unique way of storytelling, and Barbarian was pretty damn good. Not the most complex story in the world, but the way that he unpeeled the layers of the onion and told the story was very good. So I was very much looking forward to this one. So straight out the gate, was it the amazing movie that, like, dude, it is like 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Everybody's loving it. Like I said, the Steelbook is heavily sought after. The internet seems to love it. I've been staying away from reviews, spoilers. I'll be honest with you, I was kind of underwhelmed with it. I don't know what's going on with the critic in me this week, but don't click off. Don't click off. I didn't hate it. I wouldn't even say I was disappointed by it. As a matter of fact, for a 1-2 punch from Zach Cregger, this is great. I will be keeping my eyes on anything Zach Cregger does in the future. And we are going to talk spoilers here, because to talk about, I guess, what I'm a little bit let down by, I do have to dive into spoilers. So, Weapons, you know, from the commercials, you immediately know 17 kids disappeared from their classroom, all except for one at 2:17, right? Yeah, 2:17. They all just randomly ran out of their freaking house in a weird ass T-pose run style. And yeah, that's all you know going into it. I will say one thing I do love about the movie is that it dives right into it. You think that going into this that it's going to take a moment to get there. You don't. There's narration from a little girl that this is what's happened, and now here's where the real story begins. So we dive straight into the kids are missing, what the hell's going on. And Zach Cregger, once again, brings his unique flavor of storytelling and unpeeling the layers of the onion by telling the story from each person's perspective, and with each perspective forwarding the story just a little bit more. And this type of storytelling really works if you don't know where it's going. With Barbarian, I don't think there's a single soul on earth that knew where that movie was going. Didn't end up, like I said, being the most complex story in the world, but still, if you predicted where that was going, hats off to you, my friend, because I sure as hell didn't. But this movie, unfortunately, was a little bit predictable. Now, that doesn't make it any less good, but when you're telling a story the way Zach Cregger is trying to tell it, yeah, being predictable does make it a little bit less enjoyable. I think, in going into spoiler territory here, they wrote witch on the car, and when we're seeing Justine's perspective, the first person, the teacher, part of her hair gets cut off. And I think that immediately lets you know witchcraft. Like, there's a lot of subtle hints at witchcraft. And so okay, alright, so this has to do with witchcraft somehow. Probably has to do with the boy that's on the cover and the only boy that's still remaining, right? And so there were a couple predictable things about it. That's basically the biggest problem I have with it. Other than that, as far as it's executed, it's directed great, the acting's great, the writing is great. It's very, very creepy. It does a phenomenal job of creeping you the hell out. There was actually a couple genuine jump scares that got me, and I am somebody that is hard to make jump. But yeah, there was a couple moments there that got me. But and it wasn't very gory, but when we got those gory scenes, boy, did they deliver. But yeah, creepy imagery. I mean, with the eyes popping out and everything. But yeah, I do like that. Also, Justin Long made a cameo in here, and he was, in Barbarian. If that's going to be a constant in Zach Cregger films, that Justin Long's going to be like James Gunn's Michael Brooker, show up in every... Also, the girl from Last House on the Left remake cameoed as Justin Long's wife. Thought that was cool. It was very enjoyable. Like, I like the pacing of it. It's not too long. And it being predictable doesn't make it less enjoyable. I'm not trying to make it say that, like, oh, okay, I was able to predict it, so it was a shitty movie. They did a really good job at building suspense and, yeah, creeping you out, getting you horrified. And I do think the way Zach Cregger brings his unique, fresh style of storytelling does make this simple story of witchcraft that much more exciting and interesting. So, like, even though I figured out that, okay, it's got to do with witchcraft and it's going to be at the boy's house. Wherever the hell the witch is, it's at that boy's house. That didn't make me like it less. The issue I have that I want to get into, I suppose, with it is the ending. So, yeah, we follow Justine's perspective, right? And then we follow Archer's perspective, who is the father of one of the boys, the guy that writes Witch on Justine's car, the guy that, Josh Brolin's character that's freaking out, and basically blaming Justine for everything. I've helped build houses. I've been a carpenter before, quite several times, in fact, and you're not going to believe me, but I had the same idea before Archer did it. Whenever I said they're all running in a straight line. So if you just are able to get a couple Ring cameras and measure straight line infinitely, they should intersect at some point. I shit you not. I don't know if that's just carpenter brain, common sense, whatever, but the way Archer went about it is exactly how I would have went about figuring it out. So, kudos to him for knowing angles and whatnot. But yeah, so he furthers the story by determining where the house is. And then we get the cop's story, and then we get the meth head story, who I don't remember the name of, but we're going to skip to the principal's story because of what I want to talk about real quick. And then we get the principal, who furthers the story by revealing that it is witchcraft, and we meet the villain, which is Gladys. Now, I don't know how the fuck you meet Gladys and don't immediately call the cops. That part is a little bit unbelievable to me. The fact that they don't immediately go, okay, well, that's kind of suspicious. The only boy that's 17 kids go missing. The one boy that is left, we want to meet your parents, see as guardians, and you're saying that both of them are incapacitated, sick so much that they can't meet with us. I think at that point right there, you know who it is if you're the principal, or have your reasonable enough suspicion, definitely based off how weird Gladys is, to call the cops to do a wellness check or something. Anyway, we get the principal's perspective. He meets Gladys, and then we go into the principal's house where they're watching something to do with ants, and if you pay close attention to what is being said on the TV about the ants, what is being said about the ants is basically word for word what is happening here. And so a lot of so the reason it was predictable, but Zach Cregger made it to where it was predictable. He threw in a lot of hints here, so that didn't ruin anything for me. It's the end, man. We get to the end. We figure out, okay, Gladys is controlling their minds. It gets their hair, wraps around a little stick, and then she can use them as weapons. She can take the DNA of somebody, snap the stick, and then whoever she's mind controlling will forever chase after them. Kind of like It Follows. Like that's just creepy in concept and crazy. And the whole scene of the principal chasing after Justine, and that very well executed as far as just creepy and how cruel that would be. And but we get to Gladys, we get to the ending, right? The cop, we do follow, I don't remember the cop's name, I think it's Paul, but I could very well be wrong. We follow his perspective, and then he ends up abusing a guy that's addicted to meth, that's, doing basically anything he can to get his hands on meth. He asks him if there's anything that could poke him, and he puts his hand in his pocket. He gets fucking poked and is immediately scared and just reacts by knocking him the fuck out. And so he says, look, the way I see it, you wronged me, I wronged you, I'm going to let you go. Do not come back. And he lets the sheriff know, and the sheriff says as long as he doesn't come and file a complaint, we're fine, but if he does, it's going to be a big deal. And then we get his perspective. I don't remember it. Damn, I'm so bad with names, man. I swear to God, whenever I shake somebody's hand and they tell me their name, I don't know what it is, but I just zone out. I don't know what. The guy that is doing meth, he then, progresses the story. We see not only, I want to talk about this because, not only does he progress the story, but Zach Cregger does a really good job of capturing, look, my mom was addicted to meth, man, and I've met a lot of her friends that were, and he does a very good job of capturing what that addiction looks like and how it really does just consume your every being, and it really is a disgusting drug. And but there's a point where he smokes and he gets high, and then Zach Cregger, I almost thought that I accidentally pushed fast forward. The way he directed that moment, really, that kind of is what it looks like to be on, dope. Yeah, as someone that's been around several people, he does a really good job at showing what that looks like, and I think nailed it as far as showing the depravity of that addiction and that drug and what it looks like to be spun out on it. And the actor, my God, the actor plays him phenomenally. And so, getting back to the character, he ends up going to the boy's house. Robs sees that the parents of the boy are just sitting there in a comatose-like state. Their eyes are open, but they're not moving. Proceeds to then steal from them, which is believable. Might not be believable to some people, but is believable to me because of because of how desperate he is to get high. but then sees the basement where all the kids are, and then sees in the pawn shop that there's a $50,000 reward, then wants to go back to the police station. Paul then, this is after we see his perspective, and it ends with him screaming and chasing the guy using meth. And so he was actually not coming back to the police station to tell on Paul. He was coming back to the police station to report the kids. And so, staying with his perspective, him and Paul go to the house, and now we go to the principal's perspective when we get all the answers and everything and find out what happened to Paul and find out everything. And then we get the ending, which is, shout out to Max, the kid. I think the child actors are really hit or miss, but I think Max actually did a very great job here. And at this point, Justine and Archer are teaming up and just happen to be outside the house when Paul is acting all weird and possessed. And so, because a cop showed up, Gladys wants them to pack and get out of Dodge. And she's doing some type of ritual and has salt across several rooms. And if you cross it, then the whole reason it's titled Weapons is because she's using mind control to make these people weapons. So, like, the parents are behind a salt line guarding the room that Gladys is in, and Max, just to see what happens, puts his toe over the line, and then they instantly follow him and try killing him. And so whenever Justine and Archer enter the building, they cross the salt line, and Paul, I doubt that's even his name, I think I'm getting it wrong, and the meth head both start attacking Justine and Archer, and, like, will not stop until you blow their head off. But then Max, while he's under attack, there's even a Here's Johnny reference, if you guys caught it. Well, it's pretty hard to miss. But while he's being attacked by his parents, he gets Gladys's hair, snaps it, and all 17 kids start chasing Gladys. And the chase scene is awesome. It shows them running through houses, like, with, like, no, like, because they don't care about glass or anything, like, just straight killing machines. And then they get to Gladys, and holy shit, do they tear her apart. My God. And it's very bright. The blood's really bright. They really fuck her up. And, the only thing I don't like about the scene is that they played it up for laughs. Like, they kept, like, oh, look at the neighbor's reaction, to this old woman running and all these kids are chasing her. And if they would have done that one time, I think that would have been okay. But they did it, like, 3 or 4 times, and I wish they wouldn't have done that, because this is a very serious and pivotal moment, Like, this woman, like, brainwashed these children and was going to kill them and was using their youth to heal her. And, like, this is a very important moment, and you're taking away from the horror of it for laughs, which in some cases is fine, but I think the fourth, neighbor looking and the joke wore thin, is what I'm saying. And if you were gonna do it, you should have only done it once. And then they get torn apart, she gets torn apart, which breaks the spell, and the narrator ends with Max's parents had to eat soup for the rest of their lives. He went to go live with different guardians. The kids basically stayed in this state, but some of them started talking again after a year. So, Why do I not like the ending? I think we should have gotten a Gladys chapter. I do. I think we should have gotten a Gladys perspective because the why is Gladys is, you know, mind controlling these kids to take their youth and heal her, basically. She's dying and she's doing this to heal herself. And that's basically it. But like, so when she gets killed and all these kids are still left in that comatose state and Max's poor parents don't come back to being normal and whatnot and the kids are all found, you're just left sitting there like, okay, like, I get it. That's why Gladys was doing that, but like, what was this all for? Like, did she really think she was going to get away with it? Did she really think she was just going to go to the next town? Like, she had to have known she wasn't going to get away with this, which just makes the whole, like, why? What was the point in all this? What was the... So I do wish we got, like, what turned Gladys into this evil monstrosity? How did she know how to do this witchcraft? How... And... I don't know, man. The end just left a sour taste in my mouth. Like, yes, it was fulfilling to see her killed, but then it was like, okay, so now we have 17 kids that are still comatose, that a couple of them are talking again. It never said that they all made full recoveries. It never said that. It just said a couple of them are talking again. And, yeah, you start to question the how. What was the purpose? How did Gladys think she was going to get away with this and all that? Mix that in with the predictability aspect of it. And yeah, I wouldn't say it was a letdown. It was a letdown in the sense that I let the internet hype something up for me a little bit too much. I still think this is a great 1-2 punch from Zach Cregger, and I do think this is a 4 out of 5 movie. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Like, you compare this to the Blumhouse films being made. Yeah, I think this was phenomenal. I can't wait to see Together, and I think I'm going to enjoy that one more just because that fits my personal taste. But as far as a movie, the unique storytelling, his directing style, I think the movie was fantastic. I don't think it stacks up to Barbarian. I do not think it's as good as Barbarian. Straight, just putting that out there. But as far as a filmmaking perspective, acting, storytelling perspective, being a horror movie, it succeeds. It's definitely very creepy. It's more of a slow burn, but still has your attention. Still very invested. Couple good jump scares, an interesting story. I do just, wish that we had a little bit more of a climactic ending. It did feel a little bit anticlimactic, and I do wish we did get a perspective from her. I do understand that some people will disagree with that because the more you unsolve the mystery, the less scary it is, right? Like with The Strangers, look at what they're doing to that franchise. Boy, the people remaking The Strangers did not understand the point of the original movie and what made it great. But here, I think it would have worked. I do think that would have made it a little bit better and a little bit more satisfying and gave us a little bit more answers and clarity that maybe she didn't care that she was going to get caught. Maybe she didn't have a plan and like this was just her way of like, but looking at it with no perspective from her, that she just came in, took over this boy's parents, took these kids to heal herself, then that turned on her and she got killed. It's like, yeah, what were you expecting? Like, did you really think you were going to get away with this? Were you just planning on going to the next town and kidnapping another 17 kids? Like, why did you end up being so evil? How did you know how to do this stuff? So yeah, it is a great movie. I would recommend it to people. I'm not saying it's bad or that it let me down. And if you tell this story in a different way than Zach Cregger did, I don't think it's as good. So I do think his directing and way of storytelling did directly make this story better. It's just I wasn't in love with it. I wasn't in love with the answer being witchcraft, and that was just that was the climax of the movie. That kids kill her and now they're comatose. Like, the why is obviously she was healing herself, but yes, I do feel like if we would have gotten a Gladys perspective, that would have made it a little bit better. I mean, the runtime, I think, is right at 2 hours, 128 minutes. So that includes credits, though. So yeah, right at 2 hours, I think you could have made another, and you don't feel that length. That's what she said. But I do feel like this could have benefited from, yes, a 15 to 20 minute Gladys perspective on it. That's just my opinion. I do think it's still a great movie. I'm happy to add it to the collection. And I guess one more knock on it, I will say, and this applies to Barbarian too, is with this style of storytelling where you're telling the story from different perspectives, unpeeling the onion and furthering the story with each perspective, it doesn't make for a very rewatchable movie. And that, to some people, that really matters. Rewatchability really matters. To me, it doesn't. Like, Barbarian may not be a very rewatchable movie because you're never going, like, it's, with that type of storytelling, it works best when A, you can't predict it, and B, like, yes, once you've uncovered the mystery and everything and gotten your answers, the second watch, it will never be the first watch again. And you can apply that to every movie, but especially with this type of mystery storytelling, it doesn't make for a very rewatchable movie. That's not a knock to me, but that will be a knock to some people. My favorite horror movie, if I had to pick, would be Eden Lake. I have watched that one time. I've been thinking about watching it again to review for you guys, but I don't want to mentally put myself through it. So, but I will give this movie a 4 out of 5. This isn't meant to be a negative review. I know it's coming off that way, but it is a very good movie. It is very creepy. It is definitely, I think Zach Cregger is somebody to pay attention to, and I think this was a tremendous success. It was just a little bit predictable. I wasn't thrilled that it was a story of witchcraft, and then it kind of had an anticlimactic ending that I wanted a perspective from Gladys on, and wanted to know what made her, obviously people that are dying will do anything to try to make themselves better. But like, what made her discover witchcraft? What made her specifically want to go to this boy's parents' house because they said they don't even know her? What made her think that did she think she was gonna get away with this, or was this just her, like, suicidal mission, basically? I still have a lot of questions, which is fine. Hey, you don't need to be spoon-fed shit by movies, but I do think this would have benefited, from a 15-minute Gladys segment. I do think if you're the principal and you meet her, you immediately call the police. Oh, 17 kids went missing. The one boy that's left, you're saying his parents I can't talk to, and you look like that. Okay, I'm gonna just, do a welfare check real quick. The fact that he didn't do that is kind of, you gotta lean on that. I mean, it's whatever. I'm being nitpicky at this point. It was a great movie. All right, take that from this review. Not that I'm shitting on it. I am being critical of it. Yes, I do not think it was as good as Barbarian. Nothing will, like, that moment in Barbarian, the moment, man, was one of the most jaw-dropping moments I've ever seen in a movie. And You didn't have any moments like that in this that were so jaw dropping. That was like, holy shit! Like, this is where we're going. Holy, like, you kind of knew. And yeah, we're at 30 minutes. I'm gonna wrap it up. Worth the watch. I recommend it. 4 out of 5. Good horror movie. Doesn't top Sinners. Sinners is still my favorite horror movie of the year. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I know I've been review heavy this week. I do have another surprise movie that I want to review for you, but I'm not going to review it tomorrow. There's too many reviews in a row. I got to talk about my personal life a little bit. But I had the day off. I watched this twice now, actually, because I really couldn't gather my thoughts the first time I watched it. But yeah, one I'm happy to own, and thank you guys for watching. Love you, bye.